The big man search continues for Indiana basketball. Did they finally find the answer in the transfer portal?
You are Locked On Hoosiers, your daily podcast on the Indiana Hoosiers. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Welcome in. It is the Locked On Hoosiers podcast. I'm your man, Jacob Goins. I appreciate you being here, making this your go-to spot for all things Indiana athletics, your first listen or your first watch every single day. We are part of the Locked On Podcast Network, which is your team every day. Today's episode of Locked On Hoosiers is brought to you by Game Time. Okay, download the Game Time app, create an account, and use the code Locked On College for $20 off your first ticket purchase. Well, thank you so much for being here. Shout out to all of my everydayers. You are the reason this show is so successful. More football news at the end of the show today as the Hoosiers pick up their second commit in the 2026 class from right in the heart of the Buckeye. Plus, we have another guard that visited Indiana basketball yesterday. Yes, I know, another guard, but one to be excited about. We'll talk about him in just a little bit. But the center search continues, right? The countrywide search for a basketball center for Indiana and Darren DeVries, it's still ongoing. We're still looking for a big man to commit to Indiana basketball. Tons of guards, got some forwards, and now you're looking for your true big man. And look, we've talked about a lot of guys on this show, some that I think were legitimately in the running, Indiana was in the running for, and others we admitted were kind of hopefuls at times. This is one today that Indiana has reached out to. Other big-time programs have as well, and he's somebody that I think could be good, but is a little, I don't know. I'm worried about it, is what I'll say. And I think Indiana will be in the mix here. It's very early on in the process, but the Hoosiers have at least reached out, and they're trying to get that center replaced, get that spot filled, which was held down by Umar Ballo last year. Of course, he's no longer eligible. So you're trying to find somebody to step into that spot. And most likely you need at least two of them. But we'll start with the guy who is from Texas Tech. He's originally from Finland. Okay, he started his career at Pitt, played 2 years there, was a main starter at Pitt, then went to Texas Tech and only started a handful of games. Okay, he's in the transfer portal from Texas Tech. He is 6'11", 215 pounds with 1 year of eligibility remaining, and his name is Federiko Federiko. No, that wasn't a repeat. No, the audio didn't skip on you. He's got a dual name, Federiko Federiko, Federiko, twice. Federiko Federico. I don't know. Is that considered a double name or a duplicate name or a repeat name? I don't know what the technical term for that is, but his name is Federiko Federico. Okay. Again, he's 6'11", 215 pounds. He's the transfer from Texas Tech. And as I said, he only started 6 games last year. And so his stats don't jump off the page. 5 points a game, 4.5 rebounds. He did, however, listen to this crazy number. His field goal percentage is insane. 74% from the floor. Let me say that again. He shot the basketball at 74% from the floor. Now, that is all from two-point land. He does not shoot threes. He will not shoot a three, so do not expect and do not ask. He's not going to do it. But he shot the ball at 74% from the floor. His free throw percentage is not good. Career, he's probably, I'm just looking at it, quick math. I mean, he shot 49% last year, and that's probably about right for his 3 years in college basketball. But he averages about 5 rebounds a game for his career, and he averages about 5.5 points a game. So is he the most dominant thing you've ever seen? Is he the next Hunter Dickinson of college basketball or Anthony Davis or whoever? No, probably not. He's got 1 year of eligibility remaining, and I think Indiana's just going after him to fill a spot, to get a body, to have somebody there who can play the role. And let's be real. If you can play him and get 5 and 5, okay, that's fine. Play him for 20 minutes a game. He played 19 a game last year at at Texas Tech. So why not do the same thing that Texas Tech did? And when you watch his film, he plays to his size. He does absolutely nothing fancy. Nothing, not a thing. And that is not a slight to him. He just he's just 6'11, 225. He just plays what he is. And his efficiency numbers, when you dive deeper into those, like going into like his offensive rating and things like that, his numbers are off the charts. His efficiency numbers are stupid good because he doesn't shoot it very often, but when he does, he makes it. And shoot is a loose term. He's not squaring up from 20 feet away with a massive jump shot. That's not really how this goes. He's more of a lay it in, dunk it kind of floater type of guy, but it goes down the same, counts the same as a 20-foot jump shot, does it not? And that's exactly what Federiko Federiko does. And so I think he would be a really good addition to this Indiana team. But I told you at the start that I would have some concerns, right? And I'm going to tell you the way that I think, the way that I feel here. This is not a starter here at Indiana. It's just not. I don't think Federiko Federiko is a starter. I think he's a really good addition if you can get him. Okay, there's nothing like that yet. Indiana has reached out, according to Joe Tipton yesterday. He says that because when Federiko entered the portal just a few days ago, Joe Tipton tweeted out and said that these teams had reached out. Auburn, Indiana, Ole Miss, Virginia, NC State, Texas A&M, USC, Utah, and Wisconsin. That was from Joe Tipton, from Federiko's agent, Teddy Archer. Okay, so Indiana has officially reached out with some of those other names. How funny is it that Auburn has reached out in that too? It seems like these two programs are just neck and neck in every recruiting battle. But I think this would be somebody, if you're Darren DeVries and the Hoosiers, you go get him as your backup five. I don't think this is a starting center. I just don't. And he wasn't starting at Texas Tech, who made a run in the NCAA tournament. That tells me he's probably not a starter here, but that doesn't mean he can't be an impact player. That doesn't mean that he can't have a role on this squad because, again, remember, I keep telling you, I know today's the day. If you're watching this the day that it comes out on April 22nd of 2025, this is the final day to enter the portal. You have to tell your school today that you are entering and begin to file your paperwork before midnight. Your school has a couple of days then, I think until the 24th, to technically get it in and submitted and through the whole process, but you have to start that process today. I think other centers will enter the portal. I really, really do. I continue to tell you that. And I think Indiana will go after them. I know Indiana will go after them, but they're after Federiko Federiko, who could he start? Yes. In a pinch, he absolutely could. But I think he's a perfect backup five. You play him 20 minutes a game, and if he gives you 5 points, 5 boards, and he shoots it at 74% when he does, heck, why complain? I wouldn't. That'd be the perfect backup five that you're looking for. And then the search continues for your starting five. And so really like the kid. We'll keep you updated on him. Haven't heard or seen anything official on Indiana getting him to visit or anything like that. But the Hoosiers have reached out to the 6'11", 215 senior who has 1 year of eligibility. The dual repeat name. Okay, we'll go with that. Federiko Federiko from Texas Tech. Well, coming up here on Locked On Hoosiers, we will talk about somebody who did visit Indiana. And yes, it's another guard. Don't get exhausted. Don't get frustrated. It's a big name, and it's one that you need to know. He visited Indiana this week. He's also going to visit another place this week as well. We'll tell you about him in the stats and the info right after this here on the Locked On Hoosiers podcast. Today's episode of Locked On Hoosiers is brought to you by Game Time. There's nothing like the atmosphere of an NBA playoff game. Every bucket, every defensive stop, every moment feels huge. It's electric in the arena. And with Game Time, you can be a part of it without the stress of last-minute ticket hunting. Game Time makes it fast and easy to get playoff tickets, even when demand is sky high. Prices on the app actually go down as tip-off gets closer, and their last-minute deals can save you up to 60%. With their last-minute deals, you can save up to 60% off of buying last-minute tickets for sports, concerts, comedy, theater, you name it. They got it on Game Time. Plus, their all-in pricing means there's no surprise fees at checkout. What you see is what you pay every single time. Take the guesswork out of buying tickets with Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, and use the code LOCKEDONCollege for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, create an account and redeem the code LOCKEDONCOLLEGE. That's Locked On College for $20 off. Download Game Time today. Last minute tickets, lowest price guaranteed. Welcome back into a Locked On Hoosiers. Appreciate you being here, making this your go-to spot for all things Indiana athletics. And you know the drill at this point. You know how much I'm thankful for you if you are listening on audio or watching on video on the YouTube side. However you take in this show, I cannot say thank you enough for your support and the fact that you all continue to come back each and every day. The channel has grown tremendously. And so thank you so much for that. And if you are listening on audio on any of your various platforms, Spotify or Amazon or Pandora, whatever the case may be. I don't know how you're listening. I don't really care how you're listening. I'm just glad that you are, okay? Make sure that you are following us on there. Have those notifications turned on. We like to post those bonus episodes here and there, and so I don't want you to miss any of those. We're trying to ramp those up a little bit, so don't want you to miss those. So make sure you have those notifications turned on, and be sure you're sending it out to all your family and friends if they're Indiana Hoosiers fans. And then on the YouTube side, there are 3 easy steps to help us grow. Hit the thumbs up. That's liking the video. Tells me and YouTube that you like the content here. Also, leave your thoughts in the YouTube comments down below. Your thoughts on Federiko Federiko. Your thoughts on the guard that we're about to talk about in just a couple of moments, or the football commit that we're talking about later on in the show for Curt Cignetti. Let me know your thoughts down there in the YouTube comments. It's one of the best ways to help us grow. And then subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. I told you we're already over 5,500 subscribers, making a push to 56, and we're halfway there, 5,550. You guys are crushing it. So thank you so much for doing all of that and supporting us in any single way here on Locked On Hoosiers. Well, we know we are going after a center, right? A couple of centers for Indiana basketball, but Darren DeVries and this staff, even though they pulled a lot of guards, they brought another one in, and another came to visit this week to Indiana basketball. He is 6'2", 195 pounds, has 2 years of eligibility remaining. Another transfer guard took a visit to Indiana just yesterday on Monday, and his name is Jason Drake, and he's from Drexel. Okay, the Drexel Dragons. How cool is that, right? I love that name and love that mascot. But Jason Drake stepped on campus on Monday. He's also set, according to reports, to take a visit to St. John's later this week, I believe on Thursday, maybe Friday, can't remember. Later this week, though, he's going to go to St. John's, but he's already visited Indiana. He is 6'2", 195 pounds, from the heart of Michigan. Okay, 11 points, 3 rebounds, 3 assists, and 43% from the floor this past season. Let me say that again. 11 points, 3 rebounds, 3 assists, and shot it at nearly 43% from the floor. Also shot it at, this is what you want to know, almost 40% from downtown this season. That's pretty good for the Drexel Dragons there for Jason Drake. And before he was at Drexel, he started at Cleveland State. So he's played some mid-major D2 type of basketball, and he's played really, really good. He didn't do a whole lot at Cleveland State. He wasn't very active and only appeared in about half of their games, but he transferred to Drexel, was their starter, and was one of their main guys. Again, with those 11 points per game, 43% from the field, 40% from the three-point line. Also, love this number too, 86, almost 87% from the free throw line. High efficiency free throw numbers, which is something that goes overlooked and underrated in the transfer portal when you're going after these guys. But man, can we just flash back for a second on the horrifically bad free throw shooting that we've had over the years at Indiana in the Mike Woodson era? It was terrible, especially with your guards. And man, if you've been watching or listening to this show long enough, you understand and you know that I can't stand guards that suck at shooting free throws. It does not make sense to me. I played basketball long enough, not super long. I wasn't very good, but I played long enough to understand guards should shoot the basketball well from the free throw line. I'm sorry. I don't have any grace for you if you don't shoot the basketball well at the free throw line, Trey Galloway. And so you look for guards like Jason Drake in the portal who, yeah, they have a couple of years of eligibility. Their efficiency numbers are really good. They produce at a high level, and all of their shooting percentages are really, really good from the floor, from the three, from the free throw line. And I know there are a lot of you who are probably thinking, as I've said throughout the early parts of this episode, man, another guard? Don't we have enough of those guys? Shouldn't we go get another forward? Shouldn't we go get some centers? Shouldn't we go get some backup guys? Do we really need another guard? I hear you, and I totally understand. But when somebody like Jason Drake enters and somebody like Jason Drake is interested in Indiana, it can't hurt to bring him on campus. It can't hurt to make the call. It can't hurt to at least see what the options are. And we have to be honest with ourselves, and you have to be honest with a guy like Drake too, who you probably told, look, you probably won't be a starter, but you could be next year. You have 2 years of eligibility. Why don't you come in, join the squad, get some minutes? You'll probably play, I don't know, just guessing 15 to 18 minutes a game, and then learn our system, play good defense, which I think he does. And then you could be a starter your last season of college at Indiana in year 2 under Darren DeVries. Sounds like a good deal to me. We know that Indiana's paying a buttload of money in the NIL world, so you probably get a decent little paycheck and you come in and join a really fun team in a new era of IU basketball. Sounds like a good sell to me, and you can't hurt yourself if you're Indiana. One of these guys won't work out, but you don't know which one it's going to be, and you don't bet on one of these guys. You don't think it's going to be Jason Drake, who, again, I think is a really good player, and so it doesn't hurt to bring him in. And just because, right, we have to look at this on the other side too. Just because they take a visit to IU doesn't mean they're coming home. Doesn't mean they're coming and picking Bloomington. Doesn't mean they're picking Indiana. I just told you he's taking another visit later in the week. Indiana's just weighing their options. And if he decides to pick Indiana, then awesome. Then we're in a good spot. And you have probably filled all your guard spots. You go get a couple of centers and you're done. Then you're done in the transfer portal and your work has been complete. But if he picks somewhere else, then you move on. And I still think you'll be searching and shopping for guards. Darren DeVries has made that very obvious in this portal cycle. He wants guards. He wants dudes who can play. He wants dudes who can score. He wants dudes who can shoot. And he wants dudes who can run and play defense. That's Jason Drake from Drexel. You watch some of his film, he scores in literally all of the ways. He can create his own shot. He'll shoot off the bounce. He can shoot off the pass. He can get to the rack. He can finish through contact. He can stop and pop right up, anywhere on the floor. He's got it all, does Jason Drake. And sure, there is a concern in terms of he didn't play much at Cleveland State. He was balling out at Drexel. Is he really ready for the Big Ten? Well, that's why we circle back to what I was just talking about a couple of minutes ago. Bring him in and let him play a little bit. He doesn't have to be your starter. He's not your go-to point guard. He's not your go-to shooting guard. You're not putting all your eggs in the basket of a guy from Drexel, which is a good spot to be because of what you've already done in the transfer portal so far, and because of Trent Sisley stepping in as well. So you don't have to put all the pressure on him. And if it works out, it works out. And if it doesn't, then so be it. It's not the end of the world. And so don't be frustrated that it's another guard visiting for Indiana. That's a good thing. The fact that they want to come here, they want to see what's happening. They want to check out what's the new thing in Bloomington. And the new thing is Darren DeVries and a new coaching staff and a new era of Indiana basketball. So I like Jason Drake. Am I just like over the moon? Gotta have him. It's a must get for the Hoosiers. No, but I think he'd be a solid get. He'd be a solid pickup. If you get him, great. If not, oh well, you move on. You'll pick up another one somewhere else, and you still need 2 centers from the transfer portal. But that's the information on Jason Drake. Again, 6'2", 195 pounds, 11 points per game, 3 rebounds, 3 assists, shot it at 43% from the floor, shot it at 40% from 3, and 87% from the free throw line. All right, coming up here in our final segment on Locked On Hoosiers, a little bit of football news as Kurt Signetti and the boys pick up their second commit in 2026 from the heart of the Buckeyes. We'll talk about that coming up next in our final segment here on Locked On Hoosiers. Today's episode of Locked On Hoosiers is brought to you by Prize Picks. Baseball season is in full swing, and there's no better way to get in on the action than with Prize Picks, the best place to play daily fantasy sports. With Prize Picks, you pick more or less on at least 2 player projections, and if you're right, you can win up to 1,000 times your cash. Whether it's strikeouts, RBIs, or first inning runs, Prize Picks keeps every game exciting. This week, I'm taking unfortunately, I don't like the Yankees, but you got to take Aaron Judge for more than a home run this week because it's just making sense, and all they do is hit home runs there in New York, or for Shohei Ohtani to steal a base. It really is that easy. And setting up your lineup, it takes like 60 seconds, not even 60 seconds. And when you win, your payout is quick, safe, and secure. Download the app today and use the code LOCKEDONCollege to get $50 instantly after you play your first $5 lineup. That's code LOCKEDONCollege for $50 instantly after you play your first $5 lineup. With Prize Picks, it's time to run your game. All right, final segment here on Locked On Hoosiers. Appreciate you being here again, making this your first listen, first watch. In your rotation, doesn't matter to me. I'm just glad that you're here with Locked On Hoosiers. And we flip over to the football side where Kurt Signetti and Indiana football, a lot of portal things going on right now. And I know that takes the cake most of the time in terms of the headlines and kind of what we're looking for Indiana football. But high school recruiting never sleeps, and Indiana picks up a big-time commit in the 2026 class. You pick up your second commit of 2026. He is a linebacker / running back combo. You see that all the time in high school football. That is nothing new, but he's from Columbus, Ohio. That's right, from the heart of Ohio State, and the Indiana Hoosiers step in and take one from the Buckeye State in the 2026 class in Henry Ohlinger. This kid can flat out play. Again, he's a linebacker and running back is what he's been playing in high school. He is a 2026 commit. He played at Grandview Heights over there in Columbus. 6'1", 210 pounds from Columbus, Ohio. He is stepping on to Indiana in their campus, into their recruiting class, the second commit in 2026. Again, 6'1", 210 pounds. Depending on where you look, some sites have him as a linebacker, some sites have him as a running back, but he is going to play linebacker at Indiana is what the initial feeling is, as he's going to be a linebacker for the Hoosiers. And what's awesome is this quote from 247. He says, quote, this is from Ohlinger. He says, quote, I will play wherever I'm needed. He says, I believe each position helps me be a better player at the other position, and I trust my coaches to put me in the best situations to help the team win. How about that? Sounds good to me. Sign me up. I'm in. I'm a fan. I'm a fan of Ohlinger. This guy is incredible. Somebody who has turned a bunch of heads this year. According to 247, guys like, or I guess schools like Iowa, Purdue, Cincinnati, Miami, Boston College, they were all in on this guy and wanted him out of the state of Ohio. And how many times have we had our guy Brian Smith on this program, who will be joining us later on in the week, our recruiting expert here at Locked On, who we have the conversation of it's important to get kids from outside the Hoosier State. Yes, you got to lock down Indiana, but you got to get some kids from Ohio and Illinois and Wisconsin and Kentucky and start to move around the country. This is a great start. You go and get somebody like this from the state of Ohio, somebody that multiple people wanted, and a 3-star out of Ohio is legit. Again, played linebacker, played running back. He's a massive kid, only going to get bigger. He flies around to the football, with the football, doesn't matter. He is a baller, okay? And the fact that Indiana was able to step in and get somebody out of there is a big deal. Whether Ohio State was in on him down the stretch or not, I don't care. I don't really care, because you stepped next door and you got somebody that you wanted. Now, you look at the 2026 class, Ohlinger's a great addition, but you've only got the two good ones, but only got the two. Because remember, Samuel Simpson, the interior offensive lineman who committed a while back, he committed in the beginning of, was that February? Late January, early February. Sam Simpson committed as the lineman, a 3-star lineman from Wisconsin. And so just like that, you have 2 commits in 2026. Rankings right now don't really matter. There's still a lot of time and a lot more kids to get, but you've got a 3-star from Wisconsin and a 3-star from Ohio. You're off to a wonderful start on that side of things, and I really, really like what Ohlinger brings. Go watch some of his film. There's not a ton, but there's enough. You can just see the size and the football IQ, and he's talked about how much he loves Indiana and how he's been here several times and just loves everything about what's going on here with the Hoosiers. And so if you're Curt Cignetti and the staff, you have to feel really, really good about this, especially this time of year where there's so much going on. There's not a whole lot of high school guys committing right now. There's some, sure, but you get him early. You get him in the spring for 2026. You've already got that not signed, sealed, and delivered, but you've got him committed. And I really like the kid. And the fact that he's willing to, I don't know if linebacker is the less sexy position. I love the linebacker spot, but compared to running back, you would think that most kids would be, oh, I want the football. I want to be on offense. I want to make a difference with the ball in my hands. And he's like, I don't care. Put me where you want. I want to win games. And he says, I feel like both of them make me better. And Indiana's going to need linebackers, and this kid's going to be awesome. 6'1", 210 already as a high schooler. Put on a couple of more pounds for him, and he's going to be a really, really good addition. So really excited for Henry Ohlinger, the 3-star linebacker / running back from Columbus, Ohio, has committed to Indiana for the 2026 class, the second commit for Curt Cignetti and the Hoosiers for 2026. Well, that's going to do it for today's episode of Locked On Hoosiers, man. Thank you so much for being here. Really appreciate you and supporting this show, however that you do it. Audio listeners, send it to your family and friends. Subscribe if you can, if that's a thing. Follow however you can keep up with us and turn on those notifications. And for YouTube, like the video, hit that thumbs up, okay? Lets me know that you like what's going on over here. Also, leave your thoughts in the YouTube comments on Federiko Federiko, on Jason Drake, and on Henry Ohlinger. Any of those guys or anybody else that you want to hear about, leave those in the YouTube comments. And if you haven't already, subscribe to the YouTube channel, okay? We are back tomorrow for another episode, Hoosier fans. So until then, stay safe, and I'll talk to you later.